Hi, my name is Rasmus, and if you have watched any of my videos last couple of weeks, you will notice that I have had a broken wrist. Now I have healed, and so what I want to do today is discuss how that process went and how it feels getting back into playing guitar after not having played guitar for a month. So what happened was that I was out riding my bike and a car drove in front of me and I had a collision with that car. And I fell over on my left hand and I fractured a bone right here. So when I got to the hospital, I had an x-ray done of my hand and they concluded that I had a minor fracture here. They didn't need to do any surgical procedures. I just had to have a cast on my arm for 5 weeks. So the cast that I had on completely locked my hand and my arm, so I couldn't really rotate the arm a lot and I could only really use my fingers. I couldn't bend the hand back and forth. So about 10 or 11 days later, I was at the hospital again. I had another x-ray done and they basically concluded that the healing process was going fine, but that I still need to have my arm in a cast for additional 3 weeks from that point. So earlier this week, I was at the hospital for the third time and I had the cast removed and they concluded that it had healed fine. And then I had a discussion about the doctor about the state of my arm. So naturally, when your hand has been locked in the same position for 5 weeks and you haven't been able to move it, the sinews and the muscles have become very stiff and the muscles have kind of become a lot smaller. So it was really hard for me to move my hand to start with. I could only move my hand slightly back and forth. It was a bit easier for me to rotate the hand. And since I had, during the entire process, been able to use my fingers were kind of fine, but I couldn't rotate my hand that far and I couldn't bend my hand back and forth very much. So I ended up getting this list of exercises that I had to do for a couple of weeks. And they told me that in about a week time, I should be kind of back to normal, maybe 2 weeks. And that should be about the amount of time it should take. So I have now been doing these exercises for about 3 days, and they have already helped a lot. The exercises focus on 3 things. So the first is the rotation of the arm. So this is just where you sit and you rotate the arm around its own kind of axle. And you can feel that at the end point, it stretches on, I guess, its sinews and the muscles. And you kind of, you put a bit of pressure on it, not too much, but enough that it kind of stretches out. So it's basically like a stretching exercise. And it's at both ends of the movement, you can feel a stretch in different parts. So now this has become pretty good. When I'm at this point, I can still feel that it stretches a bit. And my other arm, I can rotate a little bit more on either end. So the second type of exercise is about bending the wrist. So here it's about bending the wrist forward and backward and seeing how far you can get, and again stretching out on either end. And the first couple of days I couldn't do this exercise very far, but now I can get to some more angles. You can see if I compare to my other arm, I'm still able to bend a lot more with my healthy arm than with the other arm, but it's getting there. The third type of exercise is all about finger movement. So this is where you curl your hand and you stretch your hand and you do a lot of individual finger movements to make sure that you have the full movement of your fingers as you have had before. This hasn't been a big issue for me. I've been very quickly to regain kind of the full motion of my fingers, but it's still nice to have those exercises. So the question is then, how does this affect my guitar playing? And it does so in a number of ways. So the first thing I noticed was that I had less strength in my hand. So it was hard to press down bar chords. Fretting single notes was easy enough, but entire bar chords or bigger complex chords were kind of hard. But I can kind of do it after a couple of days, I've kind of been able to do it. Now, the second thing I noticed is that when you play a lot of guitar, you tend to have like this hardened skin on your fingertips. That makes it a lot easier to play guitar. But that has kind of disappeared over the course of these 5 weeks. So now I'm at a point where I can play guitar for maybe 20 minutes or so, but then it really starts to hurt on my fingertips because I kind of actually got the feeling back again. The third thing I noticed is that it's harder to stretch your fingers. So typically when you play stuff like 3 notes per string, you have to do some stretches to kind of get all the notes, and that's a lot harder to do, and it seems like that will take some time to get used to. So an overall concept here is just the amount of fatigue that you get from playing. So due to the stretching that you do, and also the amount of force that you have to put in to fret chords and stuff, I find that I can play maybe 20 minutes and then I have to put the guitar down because my hand starts to hurt a bit, and you don't want to overstress your hand, obviously. So it's slow progress, but I can feel that just from over a couple of days it has definitely improved. So I hope you found this video useful. If you have just fractured something, maybe leave a comment below describing how was your recovery process. Yeah, thanks for watching.